It's a beautiful day out here today. Here's a look at my container garden. Everything is very healthy. I'm getting a lot of blooms and a lot of different plants. Have my hummingbird feeder, so it's good to have a little bit of color for the hummingbirds to come over. I have some squash growing, some cucumber, some tomato, some pepper, some basil, some zinnias. So that's my growing station. But today I'm actually very excited. I have a new project that I'm gonna be working on. I'm going to be doing a compost bin. So I have an old bin here that I'm going to be drilling or making some holes, and then I have some food scraps, and I'm going to be collecting some dried leaves and dry grass from this section right here, and I'll show you the process. But I decided to do this very recently, and I'm going to be using one of these old bins right here. Probably this blue one, just because it's a little bit larger and thinner. So let's get started. So I'm gonna be making some holes on the bottom of this bin with my screwdriver, mainly because I don't have a drill. So you gotta use what you have, and it's not too difficult to make the holes with this. So it works out. Let me show you. That's it right there. So when you do composting, you have to have certain things to go into the bin, and one of them is browns. So browns can be a variety of things, but it includes grass clippings such as this. So I'm collecting some to put at the bottom of it, and then at the top of the greens. So the greens is the second type of material that goes into the bin. And so the greens are food scraps mainly. The browns are dry grass, dried leaves, paper, twigs. So this is what I'm collecting now for the bottom of the bin, and I'm going to go into the woods as well to look for some dried leaves, pine cones, pine needles, and that type of material, as well as twigs for the bottom of the compost bin. And also, once I put in the browns, there is a second layer that goes in, and that's going to be the greens, the food scraps that I have, which I will show you once that step comes in. But on top of the food scraps, I want to have another layer of browns. So another layer of this dry material or paper or eggshells, things like that. So let's go in here and look for some dried leaves, like here. Some twigs. I kind of want to use some of the smaller twigs so that they can decompose faster, and it's good to kind of grind these a little bit and make them into smaller chunks so that the process of the composition speeds up. So I have the bin with all the holes in it and the lid as well. So I have different materials here that I talked about, the dried leaves and grass. I have some dried plants as well and more leaves. I have a little bit of dirt, and I have the food scraps here. So I have not as much food scraps, but as time goes by, I'm going to be having more, and whenever I do have some, I'll dump them in here and create different layers. So for the first layer now, we're gonna put in the leaves, and then the dirt, and then the food scraps, and then on top more dried material. So as I talked about, we have the greens and the browns. So I'm going to try to always have a layer of each in between to help the composting process. And the dirt has some worms and bugs that I digged out from the yard. So that should help do the composition as well. So this is what the first layer looks like. I dumped in all the leaves and the grass. So now we're going to be dumping the dirt and just spreading it out a little bit so it compacts the dried material. Okay. Now we're gonna put in the food scraps, which are the greens. And we're also going to spread that out. I'm gonna get my tool here. So we're gonna spread this out in an even layer here. To cover all the browns. Okay. And now we have the last layer, which is gonna be more browns on top of this. And I'm not gonna use all of this because it is a lot compared to the amount of greens that I have right now. So we're going to be just putting a thin layer and then dumping more food scraps and greens as we make more and more garbage. So here is after I put in the last layer that I have for right now. And these are dried flowers, dried fruit scraps that I had already saved for a while. And now we're going to be watering this and make sure it stays moist, and then putting it in a very sunny spot so it remains hot. So the hotter it gets, the better it is for the microbes to grow in the compost pile and to start the decomposition process. So here is the compost pile, the compost bin that I just finished, and I put something on the bottom to lift it up from the ground a little bit to make sure that the air gets in, and I added some water in there as well, and some leftover dirt that I had in my seed trays, and then I'm going to be covering it up like so. Make sure it's tightly closed, and then just put it in a sunny, really sunny spot like this so it stays nice and warm. And you may see that there's some water dripping right there from when I watered it. So I will be keeping this moist, so probably be watering every day, a little bit, just keeping it moist but not soggy and wet. And then also keeping it really hot. So I'm excited to see the process and experiment with this compost bin. I have never done this before, and I think it's something that it's gonna be exciting to recycle some of the food scraps and also get compost for my plants and my garden. So I will keep you updated on the process and the progress that happens in the compost bin. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video and the update, and I will see you very soon.